Thank you very much, Chairperson. Minister, I'm going to have to start and add my voice to it, and I do know it's not your department. However, I do feel on behalf of the students in my constituency, I should also say on their behalf they are not happy with the way they have been treated in relation to this year's Leaving Certificate. These students have also been hugely impacted by COVID-19. They have had their senior education totally disrupted. Some had underlying conditions, which meant they were studying from home more than others. Some had no broadband, some had no computers, tablets. It's highly unfair that they are not given the chance of a hybrid leaving cert. Schools have been closed for long periods. Teachers have been off. Sick students have been off sick. And let's not forget, these young people have lost 2 years of living their lives like normal students. Again, I would urge you to discuss this with Minister Foley and reconsider your decision. In the aftermath of COVID-19, thousands of young people are struggling with mental health and addiction issues. Many have fallen out of the school system and have become socially isolated. There are huge waiting lists for psychologists and psychiatrists and counsellors, and the closure of Cara Lodge in West Cork in 2020 exacerbated an already worsening situation in my own constituency of West Cork. We need to include mental health of our young people when we are speaking about higher education. This actually needs to be a priority. Funding needs to be a priority. One of the main problems our students have is accommodation, and trying to source it is continually a complication every year. There must be some solution for students that live hours and hours away from home. In Cork South West, we have no transport infrastructure. It's like not in any way like the cities. However, we do have a private operator who puts on a service for students, but he too is under severe pressure to keep routes open and working. And surely there's no harm in me fighting here for a third-level college in West Cork. I mean, I have people from the Beara Peninsula travelling, and the Mizzen Head, where I live myself, and the Sheepshead, and throughout West Cork, having to travel up to Cork, some taking 2.5 hour journey. And I can't understand, and it was been spoken about before, that there was going to be a third-level college, maybe set up in Skibbereen. Certainly would be a super location, and it would be an ideal help, I suppose, to these young people that are finding it difficult to get accommodation in the city, which is near impossible. The Minister, you must provide clarification and assurances to the Dáil. The Director General of the Irish University Association, Jim Miley, welcomed the Government's Higher Education Authority Bill 2021, but he said the issues of serious underfunding of the sector must also be addressed. In fact, Mr Miley told the Oireachtas Higher Education Committee last year that the legislative reform of the higher education sector will be meaningless if institutions do not receive adequate funding. Currently, his core legal function is to allocate recurrent funding for higher education institutions. When the original Act was signed 50 years ago, there were approximately 20,000 students in higher education. This has increased to over 200,000 students in the present day, with the HEA now responsible for a much more extensive and diverse university sector. Let's not forget we must include adequate funding for mental health, Minister. And as I said, you know, I pay tribute to the colleges, the third-level colleges in Cork. Many of the students from West Cork are going to there, getting a high level of education. But as I said, it was a difficult time during the pandemic, and I don't think there is enough understanding of that in government at the time. I know, as I said, it's not your department, the Leaving Certificate, but certainly that's an area that's proven that there's little understanding for the young people, and quite a lot of them angered and hurt by that. But looking for a third-level college in West Cork is now a must. Because I don't want to see our young people walking the streets of Cork, almost impossible finding accommodation. Couch surfing seems to be the way forward. I don't know how many people I met in West Cork before the colleges opened asking me would I know where there's accommodation in Cork City for them. I certainly didn't. That's one of the areas that I wouldn't have a huge expertise other than the usual outlets that we'd send people. And I would ask you, urge you, Minister, give more serious consideration to opening a third-level college in West Cork, and see can we work towards an understanding that students shouldn't have to travel 2-3 hours every weekend and maybe end up sleeping in a coach during the week and still want to educate themselves and go further in life. And I don't think that me as a public representative is doing my job right if I'm not going to fight on their behalf. Thank you. Thanks.